So the next in line is Janós Kertész. Janós is one of the veterans of network science and professor at Central European University, Budapest. His main research interest is in interdisciplinary applications of statistical physics. He is famous for his work on complex networks as well as financial analysis and modeling. Janós was also one of the first visitors at the hub, spending 3 months at the hub last spring. Welcome back, Janós.
Thank you. What I'm going to talk about is closely related to some of the previous talks. For example, to what Imre was speaking about, or Carolina, or Vittorio. I'm going to talk about burning problems and missing answers. But let me take you first some 30 years back, after the fall of the Berlin Wall, when we were all full of optimistic expectations. We hoped for widening inequalities, spread of democracy, eliminating bloody conflicts, conquering hunger, and so on. These hopes seem to fade. And what we face today is that inequalities in the developed countries increase. In the US, in the United Kingdom, or in Germany. Even in those countries, in those Nordic countries where the inequalities are usually at a low level, they started to increase. We are witnessing financial instabilities. The large global crisis was already mentioned, and the next one is already predicted. Still very bad local conflicts around us in Syria, the Rohingya crisis, and so on. One could continue this list a long time. The refugee crisis, which is of course related to these previous points. And not unrelated to that, the populist triumphal march to power. And that we are witnessing in Hungary, in Poland, in the United States, in England, in the United Kingdom, in Austria, in Italy, and so on. And this is really frightening. And the consequence of all this is a general diffuse feeling of fear. Many of us feel that things go in a wrong direction. But behind all of these, there is complexity. The interconnectedness and interdependency grows. Those optimistic hopes were results of linear thinking. We thought that if a dictatorship falls, then democracy will immediately and naturally increase. But this is much more complex and is not, unfortunately, not so. So due to this increase of the interconnectedness and interdependency, complexity increases, linear thinking gets obsolete. New sources of risk occur. In such a complex system, we know from simple models already, instabilities, new instabilities appear and cause additional risks. And perhaps most importantly, changes, technological changes or changes in the social interactions accelerate. And this is a point which is very much emphasized in Geoffrey West's theory. And I think this is something which we haven't focused enough on, because this acceleration is getting such a level that entirely new abilities are required. So earlier, hundreds of years passed and people used the same technologies, used the same techniques to make social contacts and so on. And now within one generation, we have to learn new technologies. We have to learn new ways of social contacting and have to accommodate to that. And it is perhaps too much to say, but I think we should also consider that it is not sure that we as human beings are empowered by the evolution to cope with all these changes. So it is possible that there is a new round of natural selection. There will be people who can accommodate to these new changes, and there will be who cannot. And here the responsibility of complexity scientists gets to play. We don't know the directions of the changes. Nobody knows. But, and we also don't know, unfortunately, how to predict. We don't have the tools. And we cannot influence the changes, not at all. But we are those who know the most about these things. We don't know enough, but we are those who know the most about these things. And that puts a lot of responsibility on us. These tools can be used, of course, as in science always, for good and bad. We have seen bad usage of complexity science from Cambridge Analytica to NSA and so on. But what we have to try and focus on is that we should act in a responsible way and deal with the burning problems. This is also something which is kind of harmonizing what Vittorio was saying, that we scientists usually do what we can in the sense that we know some techniques and then we try to find a problem to which the technique can be applied. And I am in favor of another way of thinking, that let us focus on problems and try to enlarge our arsenal of techniques and try to attack them. Okay, this is what I wanted to say. Thank you very much.